Ego would sit at the front of the class, but nobody wanted to sit next to her or near her. All the chairs around her were empty. At first, the lecturers who admired her in the first week now didn't pay attention to her. Some students whispered mean things like, "She's so ugly. I can't believe someone can be this ugly." One day, the lecturer said they would have a group project. "When I call your name, please join your group," the lecturer said. "This assignment is very important and counts for 50% of your final marks." The lecturer started calling names. When he wanted to call Ego, he mistakenly called Alero. "Yes, you, yes, I'm talking to you." He pointed at Ego. "Join that group." She was assigned to group C, where some of her friends from the first week were, but as soon as she stood up, they began to laugh. One girl sneered, "Didn't you say your name is Ego?" "I knew it. You would never be her." They all laughed, and one of them told the lecturer, "We don't want her in our group." The lecturer frowned and said, "You cannot choose who you want in your group. Only me can decide that." Suddenly, another group raised their hands. "Sir, we don't want ugly pox face in our group either," one of them shouted, referring to a lady with pimples who was always quiet and looked down on. The class erupted in laughter. The project given to them is to make beautiful ball gowns by member of the group, which they are going to present in a walkway like a model, and they will be rewarded with marks, which carried 50% of their final mark, and also the best group will be awarded. None of the students wanted Ego and Adanaya in their group. They were rejected. In their words, they wanted beautiful faces in the group who would help them score high marks. The teacher struggled to calm everyone down. Ego stood up and said firmly, "Don't worry about me, sir. I will do the project with her," pointing at Adanaya. The room fell silent. Some students muttered, yeah, you two deserve each other. They is." Ego replied confidently, "Of course, we do deserve each other." The lady they called Ugly Pox Face, whose real name was Adanaya, looked very sad and dejected and ran out of the class in shame. Ego ran after her, calling out, Naya, please wait. You don't have to be ashamed. Wait, Naya, wait." There was a very handsome guy in the corridor calling out to Adanaya as she was running away, looking in Adanaya's direction. As Ego ran down the corridor, she accidentally bumped into this handsome guy. His book fell to the floor. Ego quickly glanced up and saw Adanaya running to the bedrooms, but she stopped to help the guy pick up his books. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry," Ego said repeatedly. The guy smiled and said, "It's okay. It's no big deal." After they picked up the books, as Ego was about to rush to find Adanaya, the guy gently grabbed her hand and asked, "Please, if you don't mind, what is your name?" "My name is Ego," she replied quickly, then ran after Adanaya. Other students who saw the handsome guy talking to Ego started laughing. Some said she meant her name is opposite of Ego. The girls were gossiping. What is a handsome guy like that doing talking to that thinking ugly girl? Ego ignored the comment and focused on finding Adanaya. She finally caught up with her in the bedroom. "Adanaya, please don't be sad. You don't have to be ashamed. You are beautifully made," Ego said gently. "We will do this assignment together and show them what we can do, okay?" Adanaya wiped her tears and managed a small smile. "Thank you, Ego. You are the only one who has been kind to me in this school. Everyone don't want to associate with me because of the pimples I have all over my face. I've tried everything possible, but it's not fading away. Don't worry about them, Adanaya. I'm here for you, and we can be there for each other," Ego said. Adanaya moved to sit at the front next to Ego, and they started talking and laughing. During lunch, Ego was usually alone, but one afternoon, as she sat down to eat, she heard voices. "Can we join you?" asked Adanaya. To Ego's surprise, Adanaya was not alone. The handsome guy she had bumped into was with her. Ego nodded and they all sat down together. Thank you for standing up for my sister. She told me everything. You are so kind. The guy said, my name is Ugochukwu. Ego was taken aback. Your sister? You mean Adanaya is your sister? Yes, Adanaya is my junior sister. Ugochukwu replied with a warm smile. Ego was captivated by Ugochukwu as he spoke. She felt frozen in place. It was love at first sight for her. Ugochukwu continued to talk. I am in my final year of studying medicine, he said, but Ego barely heard his words. She was lost in her own world, admiring Ugochukwu. She noticed his kind eyes, his gentle smile, and the way he spoke with confidence and poise. Everything about him seemed perfect to her. Adanaya noticed Ego's distraction and smiled knowingly. Ego, are you okay? Ego snapped back to reality. Yes, I'm fine. It's just nice having you people around me, she smiled. Ugochukwu chuckled. I'm glad we can join you. We could do this more often. Ego nodded, feeling a warmth in her heart. When Ego got to her room, she removed her mask. She thought to herself, I have to take this off so that Ugochukwu can see the real me. But what if he doesn't like this real Ego at all? Maybe he only likes the Ego under ugly masks he sees now. Ego started pacing back and forth, wondering if Ugochukwu liked her for who she truly was. Her thoughts were racing. She threw herself on the bed, staring at the ceiling and chuckling to herself. Anyways, I will wait a little bit, she said softly. Maybe it's better this way for now. She smiled, feeling a mix of nervousness and excitement. Not sure what the future held, but hopeful for what might come. The next morning, Ego was very excited. She wore the best outfit she had sewn herself. The dress was so beautiful. Adanaya noticed and smiled. Why are you all dressed up, Ego? Is there anything you are not telling me? Adanaya asked teasingly. Ego just grinned, saying nothing. In class, everyone stared at her. The ladies whispered to each other. The outfit may be beautiful, but it won't take away her hideous, ugly face. But from that day on, nothing could take away Ego's happiness. Whenever Adanaya told a little joke, Ego would burst out laughing. When lunchtime came, Ego was the first to rush out of the classroom, leaving Adanaya behind. Wait for me, Ego. Where are you rushing to? Adanaya called out. Ego and Adanaya sat at the usual spot. After a while, Ego started to feel anxious. Where is Ugochukwu? Lunch is almost over. Adanaya gave her a knowing smile. I don't know. We don't always hang out together, you know. Ego felt a pang of sadness, but suddenly, Ugochukwu came running over. Oh, I had to submit my final project. Today is my last day here. I will only come back to submit assignments, Ugochukwu explained. He looked at Ego and added, I'm glad you are taking care of my sister, Ego. You have been very kind to her. Thank you so much. Ego nodded, trying to hide her disappointment. Ugochukwu noticed and teased. Are you sad you won't be seeing me anymore, Ego? They both smiled, and Ego quickly said, I have been hanging out by myself all this while now, so I'm fine. Adanaya laughed, and they all went back to the class. Ego and Adanaya became the best of friends. Surprisingly, every now and then, Ugochukwu would come to the college and hang out with Ego, giving the excuse of submitting his schoolwork. Ego started thinking they would remain just friends because Ugochukwu never spoke to her about love or asked her out. She began doubting herself, thinking that wearing the ugly mask on her face might have been a bad idea. Despite her doubts, Ego focused on her studies and her friendship with Adanaya. They got to work and started the project given to them. Ego and Adanaya put so much effort into their projects, aiming to be the best group and score the highest marks. They made beautiful ball gowns, well designed and outstanding. Adanaya was amazed with how Ego was brilliantly designing the ball gowns. She learned a lot from her. All the work that Ego and Adanaya did together was excellent. The D-Day to present the project came, and the whole groups were wearing their ball gowns, looking beautiful. Some of the students couldn't wait to see Ego and Adanaya presentation. They murmured, What can just the two of them do? They can't achieve any great results. We are getting the highest marks and the award. Everyone did their presentation, and when it was time for Ego and Adanaya to present their projects, they walked in elegantly like queens. Everyone was marveled at the beautiful designs they made. Even the lecturers couldn't close their mouths in awe. With no doubt or argument, Ego and Adanaya got the highest marks and were presented the awards. They did excellently well, passed with flying colors. As the year went by, everyone got used to seeing Ego and Adanaya together. They became a well-known ugly pair in college. While many girls were meeting their suitors and experiencing nightlife, Ego and Adanaya noticed that no guys were asking them out or even looking at their way. The reality was sometimes hard to ignore, especially when they saw their classmates going out on dates and enjoying social events. One evening, as they were studying in their room, Adanaya sighed and looked at Ego. "Do you ever wonder why no one asks us out?" Ego looked up from her book and smiled sadly. "Sometimes, but I think it's because they don't see the real us. They only see what's on the outside, forgetting what's on the inside." Adanaya nodded in agreement. "It doesn't bother me much though. I'm happy with how things are. We have each other and we are doing well in our studies. We have our goals and we are achieving them. That's what matters." Even though they sometimes felt left out, Ego and Adanaya focused on their dreams and supported each other. As the college semester neared its end and holidays approached, Adanaya invited Ego to visit her home. "My sister is getting married and I would love for you to be there with me during the wedding week," Adanaya said warmly. "And I know Ugochukwu would love that too," she said teasingly. Ego was delighted by the invitation. As the last day of the semester arrived, students were leaving with their luggages, some being picked up by their parents. Adanaya and Ego also waited for Adanaya's transport outside their residence. A big Rolls Royce pulled up in front of them, catching everyone's attention. The driver stepped out, dressed smartly in a uniform, and began loading Adanaya and Ego's luggages into the Rolls Royce. "Wow, a Rolls Royce?" one of their classmates exclaimed, staring in amazement. Even Ego was surprised. As they got into the Rolls Royce, their classmates continued to stare. The interior of the car was posh and comfortable, and Ego couldn't help but feel a bit overwhelmed. The Rolls Royce drove off, leaving their classmates talking amazingly about what they had just seen. They could not believe it. It was like a dream. Ego felt a mix of excitement and curiosity about the days ahead, grateful for Adanaya's friendship and the new experiences awaiting her. Through the Rolls Royce window, Ego looked at the mansion on the hill they were approaching. The mansion was beautiful and grand, with lush gardens and intricate architecture. Ego's jaw dropped in amazement and she was left speechless. The house was buzzing with preparations for the upcoming wedding. "Adanaya, who are you for real? Who are you?" she asked in amazement. The house was buzzing with preparations for the upcoming wedding. The king and queen welcomed Princess Adanaya and Ego warmly. Ego was shown a grand bedroom that she couldn't believe her eyes. She was amazed at the luxury. As Ego was making herself at home, she heard a knock on her door. Ugochukwu entered and they both smiled, delighted to see each other. They hugged and realized it was their first hug, creating a bit of tension as they let go. "I'm so happy to see you, Ego. How are you? Have you passed your exams?" Ugochukwu asked eagerly. Ego laughed. "Slow down, Ugochukwu. Oh, sorry. Is it Ugochukwu or Prince Ugochukwu? I will know when the results come out. Calm down, okay?" Ugochukwu grinned. "Okay, for sure, I know you have passed." They hung out and soon Adanaya joined them. They had so much fun together. The wedding was really extravagant. Adanaya's elder sister married a prince from another kingdom. After the wedding reception, all the maidens gathered to catch the bouquet. Ego caught it, but she wasn't happy because she had no lover. She sighed. looking at the bouquet, feeling a mix of hope and sadness. "Don't worry, Ego," Adanaya said, putting a hand on her shoulder. "Your time will come soon." Ugochukwu, standing nearby, smiled at Ego and added, "Yes, it will. You deserve all the happiness in the world because you have a kind heart." Ego looked at them both and felt grateful for their friendship. Feeling exhausted after the wedding, Ego went into the palace garden, still holding the bouquet. Ugochukwu came to the garden and they sat near the pool, looking at the stars. Ugochukwu reached for Ego's hand, opened it and held it gently, clearing his throat. Ugochukwu said, "Ego, you are so wonderful and kind. I feel very happy when you are by my side. I don't know, I'm always happy seeing you." Ego couldn't believe her ears. These were the words she had longed to hear from Ugochukwu. She felt her voice catch in her throat, unable to speak out. Ugochukwu continued, "Ego, please look at me. Look into my eyes." Ego turned, blushing, barely lifting her face to meet Ugochukwu's eyes. Ugochukwu took a deep breath and said, "I have never felt this way about anyone else. I love you so much, Ego. When you are not with me, I feel like I can't breathe." He smiled. "But when you are near me, everything makes sense. I have loved you since the day you bumped into me. I just couldn't express myself." Tears welled up in Ego's eyes. "Really? I have waited to hear this all year long. I love you too, Ugochukwu. I love you very much." They hugged, both of them over the moon. Ego pulled back slightly and said, "I have to tell you something." Ugochukwu, excited, held her hand and said, "Come, I have to tell my mother about you. I have already told my father." They ran back into the palace. After saying goodbye to the older princess who was leaving for her honeymoon, everyone gathered inside. Ugochukwu announced to them, "I want to marry Ego. She's the one my heart longed for." The king and Adanaya were happy for him, but the queen stood there, mouth opened in shock. She had mixed feelings. Ego took a deep breath and began to speak. "I have something to tell you all. I haven't been quite honest with you all," she said. Everyone's eyes were opened, eager to hear what Ego was about to say. Ego shared her sister's stories and explained why she had hidden her true appearance. She removed her masks to reveal her true beauty. Everyone was shocked and overwhelmed by how strikingly beautiful she was. The queen's voice returned quickly. "Oh, my daughter, Ego, come, let me give you a hug. You are indeed our future queen. So flawless. How can only you be this beautiful? So this is the beauty you have been hiding?" Ugochukwu was also stunned and speechless by Ego's beauty. The queen herself followed Ego back to her village to talk to Ego's parents about the marriage proposal. Ego and Ugochukwu were engaged before the college reopened. When the college reopened at the beginning of the year, an event was held to award the best students. Ego was the top student in the fabric and fashion design class. As she was called up to the stage to receive her award, she wore a mask. Ego accepted her award, but as she stood to give a speech, she removed her mask. Everyone was shocked and in awe. Ugochukwu shouted from the crowd, "That's my wife! Yes, she's mine!" Ego smiled upon hearing Ugochukwu scream. From that day, everyone wanted to go to their classes. The school buzzed with news of Adanaya's wealth, being a princess, the Rolls Royce, and the beautiful Ego and her prince. From that day on, everyone wanted to be friends with Ego and Adanaya, but they were already inseparable and didn't let anyone else in. Ego's wedding to the prince was held at the end of the year after she graduated with her diploma. The wedding was very extravagant. It was the talk of the town. Ego opened a very successful company where they designed everything from socks to wedding gowns. She became a celebrity designer and was making cool money. She made her dream of being independent come true. Ego reported her sister's situations in their marriage to human rights in the city. Chioma and Adaize's husbands were summoned and warned sternly about their abuse. The husbands promised never to mistreat the two sisters again. Ego and Ugochukwu lived happily ever after, bearing good fruits. This is the end of the story. I hope you learned some moral lessons. Ego's compassion toward Adanaya demonstrates that kindness can create meaningful connections and help those who are struggling. By standing up for Adanaya, Ego found a true friend and support system. Ego's journey emphasizes that real beauty is not solely about physical appearance, but illustrates that love and respect are rooted in character and kindness. The story highlights the dangers of judging others based on appearances. The initial reactions of Ego's classmates serve as a reminder to look beyond surface level judgments and appreciate individuals for their true selves. And finally, it highlights the importance of being self-reliant and independent as a woman. Do not be carried away by beauty. There is much more to a woman than her beauty. Thank you so much, guys, for watching.